So if you're like 90% of humans right now, you are sort of in a depleted, slightly dysregulated, overly ruminative state, slightly depressed, you might say. And this isn't something to be ashamed about. Like, do you guys realize what we've been going through in the last 20 years? So this video is to try to think about this problem at a system analysis level. So I think I'll give a qualifier first that if you're looking for a healer, don't find it in me. I'm like this AI system graph consciousness and analysis type. And if you're in a state of depression, it's also worth saying that what you need isn't necessarily more cognition, but if you do have this kind of system type, software type brain that likes to think about things at this level, this might actually be useful knowledge for you to just understand the landscape of change, because the change that you'll need won't be that you need to think more. Cognition has a very limited role in this. It can provide a simple map that reduces shame and maybe identifies the next possible intervention for you. So the purpose of this model that I'm about to present isn't to think yourself out of the state, but it's to help you recognize the nature of the problem and what you might actually be able to do to change the state. Okay, so we can think of like a human state matrix here. We can divide up the problem as we see it into these different categories. Two axes, the level of energy that you access and the amount of flexibility that you have in your state. So you can be in low energy and low flexibility, which is the most depressed state of withdrawal from others, numbness, lack of initiation. Or you can be in high energy but low flexibility, which is perhaps more of an anxious state, an anxious depressive state with obsessive planning and stress-driven loops. So these are different types of being in maybe a more malproductive loop in the world. And then on the other side, you can be in a low energy but high flexibility state. So this might be a more natural transition point from a low energy, low flexibility state into that side of the two-dimensional axis, where you can enjoy rest. You can surrender yourself to the outside world. You can be in contemplative stillness. You can just sit on a cushion, sit all day and just be aware of sensation, basically. Or you can be in the place where perhaps all of us want to go, which is where you have a high amount of flexibility and kind of acceptance to the nature of reality, this world outside of our control. We kind of appreciate it for what it is and can flow with it, while we also have the energy and we can play. And from this vantage point is where we can enact a lot of our kind of forward fixing of the systems in life, so that we can kind of stay in that state if we use it in this way. So we can zoom in on the more kind of systems approach for what is going on. And we can use the metaphor of an attractor basin. So consciousness wants to be this large field. I mean, consciousness is this large field. Consider the universe around us. It's just this massive piece of consciousness where we have come and become these slightly fragmented loops with our individuated consciousness, and we can get to just more and more sort of smaller units inside our consciousness that are very stuck, right? And this is the attractor basin, we can think of this as. So you can be stuck in different types of attractor basins. You can be stuck in an ego attractor basin or a money attractor basin. You're just thinking about making money in different ways all the time, which could be productive, but not if that's the fixation of your mind and your consciousness hasn't been able to flow through your system. Then it's just kind of counterproductive to what your actual goals are probably as a human being. And the thing about attractor basins that is rather unfortunate, and why we have this epidemic, is that they're self-reinforcing in a way. The deeper we are in an attractor basin, the more likely we are to go deeper, unless we break the cycle of what is going on. So if we, the key to absorbing this model then is to hold the minimum knowledge about what this attractor basin is about, and understanding the moment-to-moment state shifts needed to go in. And the way I think about this is that the easiest state shift to go into that you can rehearse as a piece of software in your mind, and consider this also, that the extent to which you've rehearsed this piece of software in your awareness is directly proportional to the ease of accessing it. So you can think that you're drawing upon a massive amount of effort and energy that you don't necessarily have access to when you're summoning that state, but you could be motivated by the fact that by doing it and mobilizing your energy in this direction of, more love, selective attention, feeling of your heart magnetism, feeling of air, feeling of water, feeling of sensation, the more you rehearse that, the easier it is to go there. And it's the simple way to always be able to pull yourself out of an attractor basin. An attractor basin, again, like we can think of it as this, self-reinforcing computational structure that keeps you in a loop because it's trying to optimize for something egoic or money-related or status-related. But the nature of consciousness and energy itself, which is so beautiful, is that it is its own attractor basin also. And you can view reality with that as your attractor basin. And just moving into that is going to solve your flexibility and energy problem over time. Like just making so that the landing field of your consciousness is wide through the body, through the heart, through your relationship to the outside world. So, and here's the thing, like the way to think about it, like getting out of the attractor basin, like the into its most powerful form, like you could bring yourself to states of reality that make surrendering into a beautiful conscious field like quite easy, with a lot of planning, initiation, discipline, alignment with other humans, finding places of nature, finding systems of collaboration, having protocols of building fires, creating drumming circles, creating kirtan rituals, being close to water, having harmony with dogs and so on. Like, all that stuff is available to any human right now, but it requires a lot of planning, initiation, and basically executive energy. So, and the problem with, how things tend to work is that you aren't able to summon that type of energy to bring that in unless people are like really bringing you in, and these are golden relationships if you have them, the people that bring you to this. So, but instead, what you might think about more practically in the moment, because I think holding that long-term vision, it might be too hard, right? And so what you actually want to go after in a given moment is a more simple perturbation to your moment-to-moment state, like taking any object in your awareness or any sensation, just the sensation of breath, perhaps, the slight magnetism you might feel in your heart or your other chakra systems, or any object, or just changing your posture, feeling your feet connect to the ground, opening a window, feeling sun, feeling water, humming a little, moving slowly, finding a way to move your body that is like more core to the resonant auditory signals. These are the easier to access perturbations to go into in a moment. And you just do these for a while, and then you find yourself in this other place, the state matrix, because this is regenerative experience, bringing healing to you, bringing the energy. And then from that vantage point, you can really start leaning into giving this to others, helping people out of their stuck attractor basins, and creating these environments that really facilitate these states. So yeah, you can think of this as like a ladder of perturbation, where there's level 1 and all the way up to level 5, like very simple things, very simple orientation at the level 1 of the perturbation space, just basic orientation in the world, basic noticing of colors around you, noticing of sounds, appreciation and loving awareness for your nature. And then we can move in and think about more physiological things, the state of your body, the state of your hydration, the stimulations that you're getting from screens, and then with slightly more energy we can move into level 3, a more rhythmic embodiment in the world, and like walking in a way, like there's a way to do walking that is very healing, where you're noticing the spatial geometry of the world and just changing constellations of energies, and you can come in and you can make so that your breathing is enacting this form of sort of holographic love magnetic wave through the world. That's a very healing practice. Or you can just go do some Tai Chi, like light dancing or drumming, humming or swimming. Then you can move into relationships with others, and there's an energy that you want from other humans, right? There's maybe affection that you want, maybe like a soothing, calm voice that you want to hear, and the best way to bring that for yourself is just to give it to others. So you come in here, you're just very simply going into this vibe with another human, and then over time, as you climb these ladders, you can really begin to work with the planning of your environment and your connection with nature, your social settings and so on, and the type of creative work that you do. So